Very cool. All right, so we're going to go ahead and tee this up, Todd. And I know you have Sharla coming on a little bit later, but welcome back, my friends. And we're stoked to have you part of Momentum Builder every week. We try to bring you the best of the best. And of course, no better than Todd Duncan this week, my mentor, the guy who changed my career and changed the career of actually hundreds after me that work with Gino and I, because what Todd has taught us and brings to us on a regular basis absolutely changes our life. Back in, Todd and I were talking before this started the show today. Hopefully a lot of you know, I know Gino knows the story 1,000 times, but literally I quit this business. I was going to quit because I was exchanging hours for dollars, and I was running out of hours. I'm like, I don't know about this business. Maybe I'll go do something else. And then fortunately, some friends of mine said, you need to align with the right people. And that's the problem. You're just doing it wrong. I'm like, oh, okay. Because I was a hard worker. A lot of you, I bet you, are a hard worker and go, why am I not making more money? Why am I not more successful? And that's why we bring on Todd, because I was working hard, but not smart. And then I went to Todd Duncan's, it was called the High Trust Boot Camp, something like that. So,
yep.
Back in
sales boot camp. Yep.
Yeah, back in 98. Yes, I've been around for a while, around the block, but it changed my career, completely changed my career. And Todd Duncan continues to change our career on a regular basis. And Todd's bringing it back, this November 28th through December 1st. Just throwing it out there before I have to split a little bit early. So does Gino to go to another meeting. That's why Todd is graciously hosting our More Momentum this week, and an integral part of our Momentum Builder community. We're very blessed to have you, Todd. And hopefully you guys join Gino and I at the High Trust Sales Academy in Vegas. No better opportunity to change your career and no better time. We're challenged. We have to regroup and get energized, get better tactics, get more strategic. And that's why Gino and I are personally going for the 3.5 days to, one, help us, but also so we can share this with our team and our company. So hopefully you join us, and I'm sure Todd will share a special Momentum Builder discount at the end of the show today. But other than that, Gino, you have anything to share before we kick it off for Todd?
Yeah, I just want to remind everybody that the people you're talking to today and the actions that you're taking right now are the ones that are going to determine how 2024 go. November's just a month away, but it's going to set your mind right so that you could start doing all the right things at the beginning of the year, because let's be honest, it's going to be a little bit challenging. So there's not going to be a lot of transactions. And the most important thing is to win the transactions that you have the opportunity to win. Conversion is everything in the market that we're about to go into. Lack of opportunity, it really doesn't exist. There's tons of opportunity. We just have to take that win from someone else. And I know Don doesn't like it when I say this because it's kind of bold, but the truth of the matter is if you lost a deal to someone else, they were better than you. Period. End of story. They offered more value. It wasn't just about price. You can overcome price if you bring the right value, and no one better than Todd to teach you that.
All right. Good statement. And so as I mentioned before, Gino and I have another meeting we have to head to, but Todd, the master, the Godfather, is going to take over for you. And do us a favor. This is your call. This is for you to engage and be part of. This isn't us talking at you. So make sure you hit the reactions. It really helps the speakers. It helps us as hosts know what, whether you're liking it, what you think about it, whether you love it, whether you think it's funny. It really adds to the energy of the call. And make sure you engage in the chat. That's what this is all about. Todd can see it. We can see it. Sonia can see it. It helps us run this. So make sure you engage in it. Say, that's great. I did this. Make sure you're engaged. That will make it a more beneficial call and more fun for both sides. To be more fun for Todd and Sharla when she comes up, and you're going to have an amazing day. So without further ado, Todd, we're going to hand the hosting role over to you, and I know it's going to be a great show, buddy.
Awesome, guys. Thanks so much. And Good to hang out with all of you today, and I'm very excited about our call. It was a 11th hour kind of decision, but we have an amazing time scheduled for you. You can see the title of our time together today. It's called Mindset Plus Skill: The Magic Formula to Succeed in Today's Market. And I really want you to follow one request. If at any time during this presentation you get an idea or you want to affirm an idea, do use those reactions. Give us hearts, give us thumbs up, whatever, whenever it happens and it triggers, let's jump onto that, okay? So here's how we're gonna do this. I'm gonna spend about 22 minutes or so setting the table for our conversation with one of my favorite people in the mortgage industry. And then for 30 minutes, we're gonna unpack one idea times a multitude of applications that you can go out today and follow and do likewise. And you will get more volume the minute you start following the one idea that we're going to go deep on. I think that the Dino and Don and Gino set the table with, kind of the market and where it's at. We know the market's weird. We know it's hard. We know that it's different and unique. But here's what I want to say to everybody. The idea that every top producer has to own is you can control your destiny. You can control what you do in today's market and not be out of control, but be in control. You can decide what you believe in and what you don't believe in. You can choose your attitude. You can choose, what you do next. You can learn from what you did previously. You can get focused on what you're going to do tomorrow. But, for most of us, it really matters what we do now. I had a chance to be at the Masters this year, and I was on the 18th hole, and Phil Mickelson was making a run for, winning the Masters, and he hadn't won it in quite a while. But to be 10 strokes back and then to string 7 birdies almost in a row and come back, and then to tie for second with the would-be leader, who was Brooks Koepka, who I just might do an aside here. The reason he fell out of first place and lost to John Ram is because his mindset started going wiggly and south on him the last 2 days. But what I want to have you understand is that when Phil Mickelson was interviewed after tying for second with Brooks and winning $1.5 million, they asked him what was going through your mind. And what Phil said is, the only shot I can control is the shot I'm about to make. And what I want you to hear right now is the only thing that you can control is what you are about to do. You can't control what you did last hour. It's over. You cannot control what you're going to do 2 hours from now because you haven't made the shot right this moment. Everything rises and falls on what we do now, right? And then right after that, it's what we do next. And as you watch Phil, birdie 18 and win $1.5 million, you can see it's just a shot by shot kind of game. And that's what the mortgage business is right now. It's a shot by shot game. What I know about, digging yourself in a hole, what I know about attitude and belief, what I know about like pessimism versus optimism is, if you don't feel empowered and inspired and you don't feel like you're leaning into it and forward thinking, and you kind of feel like you're in a rut or a hole. Will Rogers said 100 years ago, the best way to get out of a hole is to stop digging. And I think that, we got to really pay attention to this title: mindset and skill, mindset and skill, mindset and skill. And when I think about this, I think about just this idea that, when you look at top producers and you look at people that are making progress in today's market, what is it that they have done? What they have done is they've adopted the right mindset. That mindset is a forward mindset. That mindset is a growth mindset. That mindset is a belief mindset. It's an equipping mindset. It is to really understand that what I have done maybe to this point is not getting me everything I want and everything that maybe I even need right now. And so the test is, what is that mindset, and how are you entering the day? How are you managing your mindset during the day? When setbacks occur, how are you managing your thinking about the setbacks? When somebody ends up not going forward with you, how do you manage that? How do you also celebrate the victories when you have the good things that happen, which is more and more what should be happening with the right mindset? If we don't like anything in our life, you can't just change the action without first changing the mindset. And I remember one of the things that Don mentioned was when we had the High Trust Sales Boot Camp, which is now the High Trust Sales Academy. I had everybody kind of raise their right hand and pledge this promise. And the words that I made them repeat are: everything that is not happening in my business that I want to have happen in my business is my fault. It's also my responsibility, and it is also my opportunity. You and I have to make decisions every day. We are part of the mortgage and banking and real estate food chain. We have to make decisions every day, just like you have to make decisions every day, and sometimes multiple times during the day, to deal with a market that is a little bit weird right now. It's a little bit hard right now. But you know what? There's really good news to all of that as well. So let me see if I can create a structure for you to be thinking about. And then I'm going to unleash a firestorm of positivity and action as we bring on our guest. So when you look at optimism, you and I have a choice every single day, and we have a choice every moment of the day to choose whether we're going to be optimistic, forward-thinking, lean-in type people, or whether we're going to be pessimistic. Okay. Now you may say that's basic. It is basic, but I need you to just give me a reaction right now. Have you struggled with staying positive in the market that we're in? I mean, literally, have you had challenges with that? Thumbs up if you had challenges staying positive and staying optimistic and staying hopeful. You know, we got tears, we got thumbs up, we got fists. You know, here's what we know about optimism. To make progress, we need to be able to imagine, right? Imagine is to think about a different reality, a better one, right? A better one. And right now, for most of us, that would be more volume, easier business, less rate discussions, more trust-based conversations, bigger pipelines, more closings, and we'd like to be making more money than we probably are. And that's probably for everybody here. But it says, and we need to believe that we can achieve them, right? So optimism without belief is really a complex discussion to have, and we're not going to go too deep into it. I like the idea of people having a positive attitude, but you cannot stay positive if you don't back that up with skill, which is why we're going to talk about only one skill today for 30 minutes. And that skill, I'm telling you right now, it's a loan a week minimum that you could get. It's probably more than that, but it's at least another loan a week that you'll be able to get. If you like that idea, give me a reaction. So why is BE capped in the word belief? Because B is you. B is you. Be everything you have the potential to be. Be efficient. Be energetic. Okay. Be engaged. You know, have this idea that I am deciding who I want to be before I decide what I have to do, right? And people need to understand that optimism is a choice first, it's a perception, and it's a decision. And so when we look at this proverbial glass, you get to decide which side you're on, right? If you're the half empty, okay, then you're the pessimist. If you're the half full, you're the optimist. And the real optimist will fill this glass up until it's overflowing at the top. And that's how they're going to think. But you just can't wake up and say, I'm going to be optimistic today. You can say in the morning, I'm going to choose a positive mindset. I'm going to choose a growth mindset. When I run into trouble today, which I no doubt will, here's how I'm going to handle it. Here's how I'm going to think through it. And here's how I'm going to emerge from it. Okay, what we know, particularly in the business of selling and creating value, is the people that think optimistically outperform the people that don't. In fact, one of the stats that you can count on is this stat that comes out of a book called Learned Optimism from Martin Seligman. He said 56%. That is the percentage by which optimistic salespeople outsell their pessimistic counterparts. Okay, so you have to back optimism with skill. You have to have a silver lining mentality. You have to be able to understand that everything hard has a gift, as is always the case. If you didn't, you can. If you have, you'll know. But Garth Brooks had a 2-part documentary about a year ago, and he was talking about the influence his dad had on him. And he said that his dad said, here's how you do life, Garth. With every blessing, there will be a curse. And with every curse, there will be a blessing. But it is the hardship that produces the gift of the blessing. And that may be hard to wrap your head around right now, but I can tell you in 30 days from today, at the end of October, if you've got 4 to 6 more loans that you know you wouldn't have gotten had you not been on this momentum builder webinar, you're gonna know, you know what, the curse was the blessing. And now the blessing, if I regress from what I did to get there, is going to become the curse again, right? So my attitude has always been master the fewest skills that matter most. Master the fewest skills that matter most. So we look at this and we start to think about, like, what does this sound like? So Rob Dyrdek is somebody I follow. He's an entrepreneur. He's also the host of the show Ridiculousness. He says the best way to be an optimist is to continually create your best future. If you want to have the energy and the spirit of an optimist, you must move forward. Okay, so optimism cannot exist in a spirit of stagnation or oppression or negativity. Doesn't mean you're not a realist, but the people that say the reality of the market are probably going to be victims of the market. The people that say the opportunity of the market are probably going to be the victors in the market. You can decide. I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, and he said, isn't it funny how most people take their foot off the gas towards the end of the year, somewhere around Thanksgiving and all the way to the end of the year? You know, the mindset is nobody's going to buy real estate at the end of the year. And I always said, you know what? If everybody's thinking that way, I'm going to be the guy that's available for everybody that wants to buy real estate at the end of the year. And that was my attitude all along. You know, in a 19% interest rate market, I chose to not participate in the recession. I wore a button that says, rumor has it we're in a recession. I'm not participating. So you get to choose optimism. So let me ask a question. React if tomorrow morning, this afternoon, 5 minutes after this call, you could flip the optimism switch and get a different result. Let me just see those reactions real quick. If you're in chat right now, just type a yes. If you don't want to do a reaction, type a yes in chat, just a Y for yes. Could you be more optimistic 5 minutes after this call is over today? Yeah, look at this. See, so I'm really happy that you've showed up. This is going to be so fun to take this to the finish line. Okay. So here's where we go from here. The absence of belief is the creation of limits. If you believe today that the market is not optimistically flourishing with opportunity, then you don't have a forward-thinking belief. So belief is the precursor to unlocking your potential. And you've heard it said that if you don't believe, the chances are that's going to be your reality. If you do believe, I mean, listen to these words. The absence of belief is the creation of limits. Our limits begin where our belief ends. So what do you believe about this market? Do you believe that you can fund 5 million a month? Do you believe you can fund 10 million a month? Do you believe that that is possible? Do you believe that you could increase your referrals by 2 or 3 or 400% if you just did something uniquely differently with the borrower you're working with right now? Do you believe that? Do you believe that you can make $100,000 a month in this market? Do you believe that that is possible? I mean, whatever it is that you and I believe, we manifest that in our actions. And while this is probably a soft skill in terms of it not directly telling you how to do more business, it is the most important skill that you have. And the reason for that is because if you don't believe, you have limits to your potential. And you don't even mean to put them in there, but they happen anyway. So it's interesting. This is a book I have. I'll show it to you right now. This is a book called Believe. It's written by Rich DeVos, who is the founder of Amway. Amway does $10 billion a year in sales. And the second chapter in this book is a chapter that talks about believe in unlimited potential. I'll just read this to you. Those people whose aim is always low generally hit what they shoot at. They aim for nothing and hit it. life need not be lived that way. I believe that one of the most powerful forces in the world is the will of a man or a woman who believes in him or herself, who dares to aim high, to go confidently after the things that he or she wants from life. I can. Two of the most powerful words. What a powerful sentence he says. I can. It's amazing how many people can see that sentence realistically. Okay. You look at this and you go, for the overwhelming majority of people, the sentence can be a true one. It works. People can do what they believe they can do. Apart from the few people in the world who are deluded into in a psychotic sense, okay, the gap between what a person thinks he or she can do and what is actually possible to him is very small. But first he or first she must believe that he or she can. And we look at that and we start to think, okay, that's the real deal right there. That is the real deal. And so we look at the process, right? And the process is that everything starts in the top left. Your world is a reflection of what you believe. And when you are skill deficient or you're fear trapped, or you live in a state of uncertainty, your belief is oppressed, which means your actions are also oppressed, all the way down to not taking action, to lowering the risk of any action that you take because of fear, which then changes diabolically your results. I mean, just like boom, right? And then if your results aren't what you're really looking for, you're not living your full potential. And when you follow this cycle, which you can see the arrows going back and forth, the only way to raise your belief is to raise your belief and trust it, right? Because then you'll take better actions, you'll get better results, your potential will start to be lived out. And what ends up happening is your belief goes up. So when your belief is enriched and your belief goes up because you're equipped and you think positively and you think optimistically and you back that with skill mastery, then the actions you take level the playing field, if not give you an unfair competitive advantage. It's interesting. You talk to somebody that, that might be new and they want to get to a point where they make, $5,000 a month in commissions. Great. So they have to believe that that's possible. They have to take the kind of action that creates that. They have to be able to see the result improving, their tracking and getting them closer to $5,000 a month. And when they hit that the first time, their belief now is, I'm never going to earn less than $5,000 a month. So now the new belief might say 10,000 and we go around. Or somebody that works 60 hours a week doesn't have the belief that they can do more volume in 30 hours a week. Okay. But as soon as they start to move in that direction, then they start to move in that direction in a very positive, forward-thinking, optimistic way. Everything you and I have access to in the future has everything to do with our belief system in the present. And that's why it's exciting to have the time with you guys today, because, a lot of people just have this kind of like, where do I really start? Because I'm kind of locked in the grip of fear. Well, one of the definitions of fear is feel excited and ready. So the best way to feel excited and ready is to do something, to take action, to have some kind of forward thinking. And it doesn't matter. You go to 25,000 a month, you go to 50,000 a month, you go to 100,000 a month, you don't want to go backwards. And the only thing that might cause you to go backwards is a tough market, but you're going to be further ahead in a tough market by doing the right things in a good market than you will ever be in a tough market by recoiling and having fear and having disbelief. And so when we look at this, we go like, I have to master adversity. The bigger my dreams, the bigger my belief, the more action I take, the more adversity I'm going to have. Success is not easy. There are walls, there are speed bumps, there are critical left turns and right turns and U-turns and do-overs and all of that. Adversity is part of the game of greatness. You can't be great without adversity. There's no way you can become a better human being. You can become a more successful mortgage banker. There's no way unless you have adversity and you get through the adversity. I mean, I teach people in the academy that the wrong way is the right way because it teaches you a better way. I teach people in the academy, if you don't wake up and love failure and get excited about failure, you're not going to achieve the success breakthroughs. Nobody wakes up and says, I want to be a master of failure today. I can't wait. But they do wake up and they say, I'm going to master failure intellectually. I'm going to see everything that doesn't work out as a gift, not a liability. And that's what's cool about the conversation that we're about to have. You look at the neuroscience of belief. Okay, why understand belief? Why just go from the practical application of belief in doing things and understand how it affects the brain? So these are the 4 hormones that get released when you start believing at a higher level. Okay, we have, everybody on this call has access to these. We all have access to these hormones. They're called happy hormones. I'm going to come down to endorphins. It's a natural pain reliever. So if I believe what this says is the body releases endorphins, which minimize the pain we're feeling in a moment, and watch this, and increase, the endorphins increase, which means your pain comes down as your activities become more intentional and reward producing. So what would you want to do today if you decided, I want to be happy in today's market? I got to believe at a level that I'm not believing at. And part of that is to understand that all I have to do is trust the belief and then trust the action, which is why I'm excited about our half hour we're about ready to go into. But you look at this, you look at oxytocin, it's the love hormone, right? And with borrowers, if you have a different stylistic approach to borrowers today, it promotes more trust and empathy and connection. And when trust and empathy and connection go up, conversion goes up, to Gino's point earlier, right? If you've had a tough night sleeping at any point in the last week, or if the season has been rough and you haven't been able to get a deep sleep, when you start believing about a better future, a better now, a better tomorrow, a better bank account, a better health account, a better marital account, whatever, you start believing that, you start getting more positive. You got to believe it before you can see it. I know that sounds like motivational speaking 101, but it's true, because whatever you believe will come true, whether it's angled towards the negative or angled towards the positive. It's just going to come true. So why not believe in something bigger than you? Why don't you believe in a new dream? Why don't you believe that this is the market? I mean, half the loan officers are no longer in the business anymore. What is good about that? You're still in the business, and now there's more business for everybody who's still here. There's all kinds of ways to see the silver lining in a tough market. And so as we roll into this, it's like, who better to have a conversation with than my good friend, Sharla Ellis. Sharla Ellis is one of the most gifted believers in possibility of anybody that I've ever known. She's given me a couple of quotes in the last 2 or 3 months that I kind of put together as one. But before I give you the quote, this is the book she gave me. And Sony, you can go ahead and bring Sharla on in this moment in time, and then I'll stop the screen share in just a moment. But this is called "The Sky Is the Limit." And I told Sharla, the sky is not the limit. So she wrote "not" at the top of the book. And then at the bottom, she wrote the subtitle, "This is what Todd Duncan has taught me." And then she went through the book and wrote a whole bunch of stuff in the book, including a beautiful note to me in the book. But I tagged this one thing because it's about what we're going to talk about today. So the book in the middle of the book is talking about ways to dazzle and parties to throw. And she hand wrote on this page, I'll just show you what the page looks like right now. So this is in the middle of the book. She goes, and you can transform your office into a learning center where your referral partners will flock to. So I'm going to stop the share, but I want you to know that, excuse me just for a second, I want you to know that this is what Sharla has done in the last 90 days. 17.6 million. She's the loan officer. She's got a team. And she can do more. She knows she can do more. She's done more, but she's doing very, very good in today's market. And so, Sharla, welcome to our time together. I'm going to stop the share. I'm going to say hi to you, my dear. Hi.
Oh, hello, everyone. So happy to be here.
What say you about this whole thing on positivity and optimism? I'm interested in you sharing your heart for a moment with everybody, and then I want to talk about you and Steve and what you did 3 years ago with your office, and then I want to talk about how you decided in today's market just to go big with what you already knew worked small, but give everybody a sense of how you think and how you wake up and, what is an $18 million every 3-month producer thinking about in a hard market?
Well, actually, I have a secret that some of you might know, but some of you don't. But my maiden name is Jolly. And so I am jolly no matter the mood, right? So it's easy for me to be. I've grown up as Sharla Jolly Ellis. I've grown up very positive. My dad taught me that with a name like that, I couldn't be grumpy. And so I indeed try to find the silver lining in every cloud and try to help inspire and lift each other. And you've taught me, Todd, to be as optimistic as possible. I love what you said is what's the opposite? Well, it's negative. Who wants to work with a negative loan officer? Nobody, right? So we need to find the opportunity in this market. As I looked at the participants, I think my friend Barry Habib is here, and Barry is optimistic. And he said that this is the opportunity you've been waiting for in this market. And I'm like, opportunity. And so we're seeing opportunities. And that's what I'm selling to my realtors is there is opportunity. And so I'm just having some one-on-ones. I'm having some lunch and learns, which we'll talk about. And we're spreading the idea that we can motivate and we can excite our customers to buy now, those who can afford. It is going to be a great time. And so I'm optimistic, but I want to say a couple of things. Is that mindset and attitude, they honestly are going to be what helps you to persevere. That's plain and simple. And they are going to be the starring role to your success. So you have to sometimes be your own cheerleader. Wake up before you start the day and figure out how you're going to be optimistic, how you're going to show up for your clients, your team members, your sources, and be as optimistic as you can. I love the statistics that you sell more if you're optimistic. So that's good. We also have to widen our net, go more wide in this market. So it's meeting people, and they want to be. You'll if you can get to trust faster. Somebody optimistic can get to trust faster, and that will help you to be successful in this market. So there's just all kinds of key nuggets that you've just said that can help us. Even just being positive and putting a smile on your face, you'll do more, you'll be more, you'll have more. So I love everything you've said.
Good. Well, I love everything you've said and that you're about to say. I want to go back real quick, though, and show you guys just one screen because this is going to set the stage for what Sharla and I talk about. But if we get back to the presentation, because I was a little bit out of sync, this is the one idea that I think Sharla has mastered. And it's a simple idea for a complicated market. And what we're telling people today is just to make strategic calls. Don't shotgun it. Don't, try to be everything to everyone. You can spread your net right now in ways that are very, very powerful. And we'll unpack that with Sharla. But I told our lead group the other day, I said, like the question that we should all ask right now is like, who do you know? Who do you know right now? If you're on this Momentum Builder call and you and I are hanging out with Sharla, who do you know right now? And the first question would be, have you been strategically in their life over the last 90 days? And let's talk about realtors or builders or partners. We could probably keep it just on realtors for a sec to make the point, and then you can take it anywhere you want. But let's say you know 10 realtors. And the question I would have right now is, are you deep with them? Are you connected with them? Do they know that you need them to help you find more people in today's market? And so the next question is, who do they know? So if I have 10 realtors and the 10 realtors know 6 friends that are in real estate, the next question is, what do I need to do to get to know them? Well, I got to call them based on the real estate agent that I'm working with and make that introduction with that referral. And then the next question that is so beautiful is, who do they know? And do they know you? Like if you go from 10 real estate agents and you call 60 more and 20 of those convert to a relationship that you can serve and stay in touch with, you now have, 30 real estate agents. A real estate agent that did 25 transactions last year is probably going to do 10 or 12 this year. It's just the fact. So you obviously need to go wide. Now the question would be, who do the 30 know? And do they know you? And then the one question that is the connection, conversion, and closing question is, what do you need to know about them? You need to learn from them what exactly is important to them right now. If I have a real estate agent and I'm not talking to her and learning what she needs to have happen in the next 90 days to feel more comfortable about prepping and planning for 2024, then I'm dropping the ball. The best way to have relational activity is to stay in touch with those relationships. So I'll give you one script right now, and then we'll go back to Sharla. Think about this. Think about calling every real estate agent you know that you love, that you know is productive, that's not high maintenance, and just saying, what friends of yours sell real estate and they need a lender partnership like ours? That's all you have to do. If you were to give me a reaction right now, if you think you could make calls today after we hang up and ask people that you know this question right now, or give me a yes in the chat. It's like, let's take action. Let's take action. And then as Charlotte's going to tell you, let's start small, let's go big, and then let's go really, really big. So Charlotte, I'm going to bring you back right now. Let's talk about what you and Steve did, your husband, I think probably, 3.5 years ago, right?
This was actually in the first of 2022. So January
Okay, yeah.
2022. So we're coming off of COVID, and I decided I was going to do a realtor event, a kickoff for the 2022 year. I was a little bit nervous about it because I'm like, hey, everybody's been kind of hanging back because of COVID. Who will come? Nobody will come. And as we started reaching out and touching people, we just had about 55 come to that event, which was fine for just coming off of a year where nobody was going anywhere. So I thought, I want to keep this up. I want to keep the connections up. And the night before, I actually just came up with an idea that I'll do lunch and learns. And so I love to present. I've been in the business 1,000 years and know a lot of things. And so I decided I wanted to do that. And I thought, okay, I'll just do it on condos. The condos had recently changed and I can make things exciting. And I thought I'd have Mexican food and advertise it as let's talk about condos. And so I just announced that the next day that I would have a lunch and learn in 2 weeks, and it's on condos. And I had it at my office. I said, okay, I have a conference room where I can fit 8 people, 10 people. That's fine. Just getting to know people. Well, that event was so fun to have 55 there. I said, hey, I want to go big. All right, where do I find a venue? Okay, the title company upstairs has a little bit more room. A building next door, there's a boardroom. You have to go down by the bathroom and around the hall. And I've used that before. And then that night I was leaving and I looked at the cubicle area in my office, which we didn't use. And I said, what if we took the cubicles out and created a learning center here where I had tables and I had a TV? I went home to my husband, who has been a contractor, and I said, Stephen, what if? And he's always so supportive of me. And he said, I can do that. So within 10 days, we had transformed my office. He built the tables. He came and painted. He put the TV up. It was beautiful, wonderful. We got it. We can fit up to about 35 comfortably. We've had up to 50 there, so I don't have to pay for a venue. I can have it right in my office. And we had everybody come. I have a beautiful area where I can serve the lunch. And it was a smashing success. And I decided I wanted more and more of that. So it was quick to put together. We did it. And our first one was we knocked it out of the park. I think I had 30. It was a room full. I did it twice. So I do these at least 2 times a month on the same topic. And I have a full room each and every time. So that's good.
So think about this, you guys. Think about those 2 words. What if, right? If you could wake up every day, and particularly during the day, in moments where maybe you're moving from that optimism to getting challenged with your thinking and your attitude. What if I could change the conversation with the borrower and get them to say yes? What if interest rates didn't matter as much? Because I became very, very skilled. What if I could educate more real estate partners in a market that's difficult? And what if I took that to scale? Because right now, there's nothing that should suggest that if you help your referral partners win, they will help you grow. But if you don't help your referral partners win, they don't have the growth Therefore, then you're not the beneficiary of a non-growth relationship. So when I went to Sharla's office, we had our elite retreat in Utah, and we were at Sundance, and I stopped at Sharla's office on the way, and she was kind enough to drive us out the rest of the way. And you walked into her office and you felt the vibe. You felt a repurposed space. You had, I think, 4 long tables there. She could seat 30, 35 people every single week. If it's a really hot topic and she sells out, she can do it the next day for the next group, right? 4 times. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, and then my rule is no yawn or topics. I mean, I'm not doing anything that is going to put anybody to sleep. So I've been asked, what kind of topics do you do? I come up with exciting topics, but one that can help them win. And I agree with what you're saying. You help them win, but I'm selling without being salesy. So I had a junior loan officer with me years ago, and where he got his business, he was new in the business, and bless his heart, he started down with the MLS, with the A's, and started calling, hello, my name is so-and-so, and can we meet? And I'm like, I'm good, but I'm not that good. So I love bringing these realtors in. I love doing my thing. They see my positivity. I get to share examples of winning and how our team wins without saying, look at me. I just use our examples. They see us in action. And my philosophy has been the many to one. I look for someone that I can connect with, that I can then, this is where what I do all week. I fill my task with going and meeting with these agents to get more close to them, to do a high trust sales interview with them. And then, and it doesn't happen, it's like a courtship, I will get business out of them. And we have to widen our net, right, guys? So Todd will tell us in a normal market, you don't want a ton of referral partners, but the ton of referral partners who trust us are sending in their onesies, their twosies, they're this, they're this, they're this. And we're keeping our volume up because we have widened our net. But it's a beautiful relationship because they see us in action. It's not selling. They fall in love with us. I court them. We talk about this, they send us a deal, we perform very well, and then they are our realtors for life. So it's working very, very well.
And you can just tell, you feel the vibe. I mean, I can feel Sharla. My whole computer screen feels like it's just like full of juice and positivity. But this is the hallmark DNA of a forward-thinking top producer, right? Sharla has served over 10,000 families with mortgage financing. She has funded over $2 billion in home loans. And this is one of the simplest, beautifulest breakthrough ideas that you could ever deploy in your market. And, you know, in one way, we're in this futuristic market with technology and all this kind of stuff. And in another way, we're still in the humanity market, which is the connection piece. And when you can connect with referral partners, they do a better job connecting with borrowers and connecting the borrower to you, which then stimulates a higher conversion. So then Sharla is part of our elite group. This is a group of 33 people that are at the top of their game that I coach and that we meet together monthly, and then we have these quarterly sessions. And so it's not a surprise when you have a conversation with somebody who used to say the sky is the limit, and I coached her to say, no, the sky is not the limit. It's also something to say that here's somebody that has this 80-20 vision, acrylic crystal, beautiful crystal on her table, her desk. I have this in my office. She gave me one. I lost it. She sent me another one. I found the one I lost. Now I have 2. So I have one in my restroom, my bathroom at home. When I get ready in the morning, I see this. And Sharla has deployed this like 80-20 thinking. Like, I want to spend 80% of my time with the 20% of the people that have the greatest influence in the market, that I can befriend as a lender and they as a realtor, and we can have fun together. So in the last couple of months, the pivot that Sharla has made, and she's made it twice, is she has gone from the learning center in her office, which has obviously immovable walls, and she could only hold so many people, to thinking even outside the box. What if? And I don't want to botch this, and you can correct me if I say it wrong, but one of the most recent examples is she said, what if I could move from 30 people to 100 people or even 200 people? And she decided to go even bigger because she had done this in a trial, I think about a year ago. Talk about what happened like in July. I think you did this big one where you put the panel together. Walk everybody through this, because you could go out, you guys, as you listen to Sharla unpack this playbook, you could go out and do this in 3 weeks. You could start today, and in 3 weeks, you could have the same results. So go ahead and unpack what you did recently.
All right. So in my June lunch and learn, I heard some agents who were just complaining about the market. And people are hearing crickets. Obviously, it is a very challenging market. And yet some of the agents I'm working with are crushing it. And hey, there's the top producers who are crushing it. And so there I put my head, my thinking cap on, and I said, what if I had a top producer panel? Now, that's not a unique idea, but I was not working with the top producers in Utah. And I said, what a great opportunity for me to reach out to these top producers and do a top producer panel. I knew it would be big. So I rented a space that would hold, up to 100 or over 120 people. And I said, let's fill that. Well, we actually had just under 90 attend, but how I got my panelists is I just pulled up the MMI and saw the rankings, and I called the very top. He was going to be in Italy. I called the second one. He was going to be in somewhere else. I called the third, the fourth. I got the seventh, eighth. I had 5 top producing panelists who wanted to be on the panel with me. It was a joy to have some reason to reach out to them. And they're doing massive amounts of business. One that I chose for my panel said, oh, I have 10 under contract right now. I said, great. So I chose another top producing agent to be the moderator. So it wasn't just Sharla standing up there asking all the questions. And I was a panel member to interject on the lending side, etc. So we had our panel there. We had a bazillion people there, and it was just so beautiful to have people come in. And from there, again, I am one-on-ones and still following up with people and having one-on-ones. I have a one-on-one this afternoon. I have one tomorrow morning from July. And I said to Todd, I don't do business with these top producers yet. Well, I now, of 3 of the 5 have sent me loans. What?
Reactions.
The 4th one I'm going to lunch with on Monday. And the 5th one, let's say he's not giving me calls back, but it will only be a matter of time. But guys, this is how I'm selling without being salesy, and it is just fun. And they're seeing my optimism, and everybody needs that. It takes a minute to get a loan from someone, but you have an in. It's a warm lead, not a cold lead, and you can get as close to these people. If somebody does not refer a business to me, but they're a cheerleader, I count them every bit as much in my circle because they can cheer me on to someone else who will use me. So this has just been a fun way to try to widen my net and get my name out there without making cold calls. So I encourage you, you have it within you. There's something how to give a talk about, 1 hour talk about something. And if you don't, have someone else sponsor it or do a CE class or something. Don't make it boring. So you have more people come, but you can do this. Serve a light refreshment, serve a brunch and learn. It's less expensive than a lunch and learn, but do it and don't delay. I have learned you just do it, and we've made mistakes, but we're getting better at it. Also put together your list of who you want to send invitations to. I start and do invitations 3 weeks ahead of time on a Tuesday and Thursday. We text, we do social media. We've learned to text and do social media much more close to the event, as hit it really hard and you get more there. I also have your next one planned so people can sign up when they're at your office at the event. The best advice is you will have people that will say, unsubscribe, I'm not interested. Pay no mind. There are plenty of people who want to work with you, who want to hear your positivity and who want to better themselves because of you. So go for it, and you can do it. And sky is not the limit. It's only the beginning.
It's only the beginning. This is unbelievable. So it's actually not unbelievable. I don't even want to use that word. Let me have a do-over on that. It is totally believable, but a lot of people go, they scratch their head and go, "That's unbelievable. She had 90 realtors in a room." But just bear in mind that people know the people that you need to know, and that's why, like, who do you know? Who do they know? Do they know you yet? If you went to those same 10 realtors and said, "Invite 6 of your realtor friends. I want 60 people at this lunch and learn. Here's what we're going to talk about. Blah 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 blah." You would fill your first lunch and learn, and you would fill it at scale. So, Sharla, would you do me a favor? And there's a lot of posts on, do we get a discount to the High Trust Sales Academy through Momentum Builders and blah, 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 blah. You had that moment in your life where you went to the High Trust Sales Academy, and tell everybody the story. Because here you are now, 10,000 families served, $2 billion in home loans. Tell everybody just the quick story. And then, guys, I want to give you a special code that Momentum Builder followers can have, where we're going to take $1,500 off the retail ticket. I'll show you how to register. I'll give you the QR code. But Sharla, talk through what happened to your life, your family's life, as you started down the High Trust Sales Academy journey with us.
Well, Todd has changed my life, and he can change yours. So this was 2004. I didn't know about Todd before that time. In 2003, for anybody who's been in the business, was the heaviest refinance year up to that time. I mean, man, I spent hours in the office, and that was before we worked remote and had, cell phones and things like that. I was at the office all the time. I learned that the lights turn off at 2 a.m. And so, I opened the fridge to kind of do copies and things like that. I was just busy, hamster on wheels. My team for a summer party gave me a hygiene kit so that I'd have that in the office, a toothbrush, deodorant, etc. It was crazy. And there was so much business, and we were just trying to do it, didn't know how to do it in a beautiful way. But my family suffered a little bit. So that calmed down. And here I get this in the mail that said, "I promise that you can knock it out of the park and have a life." And I'm like, who is this guy? Well, that's what I want. So I signed up. It was the very first of 2004 was it the Weston or somewhere in Denver. And it was the Heavenly Bed place. I still remember that because I came
Right, I did.
a Heavenly Bed. Anyway, Todd, from the very first night he had us there, I came out to the lobby. I used a payphone. Again, that dates me, but I called my husband and I said, "This will change our lives." And I was able to sign up for coaching. I was able to figure out how to do business in an excellent way and find balance in your life and get yourself back to your family, but produce up a storm. I promise you, that's what Todd's model is all about. That's what I have done. I've had some incredibly high years, and I have a life, and I gave back to my family what I lost all those years when I didn't know how to do it. So do it yourself and your family a favor. Please come, and he'll teach you how to maintain your business consistent and increase in a tough year, which is what we need. What if this never goes away? What if we always have 6%? Which, hey, that's a healthy environment. How do we win? Let's win, and let's educate our customers, and he'll teach us that. Please come. I'll be there, and I'll look forward to seeing you there.
Barry knows this more than anybody, but if you take a look at 30-year fixed rates over the last, since 1965, they've probably averaged 7.5%. And so you look at today's market, and for a lot of people in the last 10 years, they've never had to deal with a market like this. So this is the first for you, right? For some of us veterans like me and Sharla and Barry and others, we've seen this, right? We've been in these markets. And the good news about any market that's hard is it will get easy. The bad news about any market that's easy is it'll get hard, and it doesn't matter. These are the cycles that come and go. They're fairly predictable. I don't think anybody thought this one would be as deep as it is and as hard as it is. But the really good news is everything that you do right now, including coming and being with 200 other mortgage originators that want to scale like Sharla has scaled. And I remember Sharla last year told me, she said, it's so beautiful to have gone from a 60-hour work week to a 30-hour work week. And that's what our promise is to you. And that's why we want you to really ask yourself, do you have the playbook for the life that you want? I mean, do you know how to control your business, and do you know how to do the things that are absolutely most critical to your life force coming alive in every area of your life? And 40 hours with me and 200 other mortgage professionals it's the 1-2 punch, particularly at the end of this hard season that we're in as we roll into 24 and we watch the market begin to get a little bit different and not as hard. We watch rates start to come down a little bit. We watch properties starting to move. You need to be prepared when that happens, not start to get prepared when it does happen. So Sharla, I want to thank you for your time. And before anybody hangs up, I want to tell you a little bit about what Don and Gino talked me into in terms of pricing for you guys. But Sharla, I would almost know where you're going to go, but if you could lay down one more positive thought before I show the slides, can you just give everybody just a piece of gold from Sharla?
Oh my goodness, I should have been prepared. I also like to be prepared, and so you should have told me that. Honestly, smile. Smile.
Wow.
Guys, you can do, and you have the power within you to do what you need to do right now. Smile through it. And if you need some optimism, buzz me and I'll help you. And
buzz me and I'll help you. You cannot get excited when you're around Miss Sharla Ellis. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for that. So guys, before you hang up, here's kind of where we're going to go. So this is a testimonial that we got from a guy named Cody. He said, the High Trust Sales Academy changed everything. I went from 100 loans per year to 500 loans per year in 36 months. You have changed mine and my family's lives for generations. I just want you to know that's why I wake up. I wake up to help people change their families' lives for generations. And I do that by teaching the High Trust Sales Academy. It's the only live event that our company is doing this year. And it's the most important event that I've ever created. I was telling Don and Gino that we have over 100,000 loan officers since I launched this program in 1995 that have gone through the current year variation of it. And I am honored, and the average improvement in closings for that 100,000 people within 90 days of the completion of the program is 4.7 loans a month. So, 4 loans a month at $5,000 a loan, it's $20,000, and we're going to make it really easy for you to come. So it's not average. One of the best CEOs that I know that runs a really successful mortgage company said that what the High Trust Sales Academy is the most prescriptive sales training ever in the history of mortgage lending. So we're going to talk about how to improve your income, improve your volume, reduce your stress, and have you work less than 40 hours a week. We're going to talk about the conversion code, which is one of our secret sauces that will allow you to model the top 1% of producers, and you will be able to get a consumer to say yes to doing business with you 4 times faster than you are experiencing that in a normal market, and even 4 times faster in a difficult market. There was a couple people in chat that said, I've heard you talk about the circle of cash flow forever. Something happened today when you went through those. Who do I know? Who do they know? Do I know them? And what do I need to know about them? That's the circle of cash flow. So we spend 5 hours on the circle of cash flow in the academy, and you'll walk away with the implementation system where every borrower you serve and help achieve home ownership and manage the mortgage relationship for life, every one of those borrowers will refer you minimally to 10 additional people in the next 12 months, half of whom will apply and fund with you. So it's the universe of what most loan officers, in fact, only 4% of loan officers surveyed out of 18,000 loan officers that our company surveyed said that they have an activation campaign post-closing to really engage with the borrower and have them become a salesperson for that originator's personal brand. So we're going to unpack that and give you the actual playbook on how to implement that. And speaking of playbooks, the High Trust Sales Academy is now 400 pages long. It is the most prescriptive playbook that you can find in lending. You will have it for life. I talked to somebody the other day on a webinar, and he made $6 million in commissions 2 years ago as a loan officer. He held up all 4 binders of the High Trust Sales Academy that he has come to over the last 8 years. And I looked at him and I go, man, there's not many loan officers that can make that kind of money, have a private jet, fly all over, blah, 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 blah. But he's balanced. He's got 4 kids. He's got a beautiful wife, and they have an incredible life. So that's my commitment to you. All you have to do is take a snapshot of the QR code. We're going to give everybody that is part of Momentum Builders, we're going to give them $1,500 off the retail cost of the ticket. The retail cost is normally $3,995. today you can register and you will get a $1,500 discount to $2,495. You can snap this QR code or you can zoom in on this QR code. It'll take you straight to the website. And then all you have to do is put in your credentials. And I'm going to make a deal with you. And Don and Gino know this deal. If 25 people from the Momentum Builders community sign up, whenever, if we get 25 people to sign up between now and the event, you each will get a credit back of $300. So we'll take the price down to $2,195, but we need 25 people from the Momentum Builders family, which would include everybody on today's webinar, anybody that watches it on the replay, and we'll give you that. So you think about like, how much should I make per loan? And you think about like what Sharla's talking about, and you think about, okay, so maybe a flight to Las Vegas, maybe a hotel for 3 nights, a little bit of food, and the learning. It's like one loan commission. And if you think about a future that sounds like the future that Sharla has now experienced, then you can dollarize this in a hot second, right? And it makes all the sense in the world. So this thing will sell out at 200 people. We've got about 50 seats left, and I just want to encourage you to take action today. Sharla says you got to do it, and Don and Gino say you got to do it, and I say you got to do it. And there's many people on the chat that said, I went like 10 years ago. It was great, it changed my life, and I'm coming back. So we're excited about that. I'm going to stop the share. I'm assuming all of you have QR coded this and at least taken a picture of it so you can take action later. Sharla, I love you so much. You are such a ray of light and positivity and hopefulness, and it is so awesome for me to wake up every day knowing that I've got deep friendships with people like you that can pour in to other people in the business and give them a new vision of what their future can look like. And love you. I absolutely love you. So we got top of the hour, and there's still 38 people online. I'm going to let everybody go, except I'm going to hang out for 10 minutes, and I'm going to just look at chat, and I'm going to see who wants to ask a question. Sharla, you can stay on if you want, and you don't have to. I know you got business, but let's see here. Todd and Sharla, thanks for the feedback and positive feedback today. Your success is contagious. Yes. Anybody want to throw a question in there? Let's see. I hope you all give not just a new vision. Yeah, it's beautiful.
While we're waiting for questions, I just want to let everyone know who's coming up next week. Our friend Arjun Dhingra will be our speaker next week. He is a top producer. He's going to share some of his secrets. And then the week after that, Katrina Orlando and Nate McVicker, our old friends from FAM, are guest hosting for us. They're going to bring on Ethan from BombBomb to talk about human-centered communication.
I'm going to go off on that for I'm going to go off on the humanity piece, you guys. There's a great book out called Marketing Rebellion, and the subtitle of the book is The Most Human Company Wins. I want everybody to understand that humanity is still going to be the major connection force that you will have, no matter what technology comes along, no matter how fast we can do this or do that, no matter what AI does or doesn't do. The mortgage business is a relationship business. And when you get a relationship going and you serve that relationship and you see the relationship introduces you to, you can layer that whole thing in a ribbon with technology and AI and all that comes along with the future of this. But at the end of the day, it's right here. It's connected to the heart before you ever sell to the head. You sell to the head without connecting to the heart, you're going to lose. And so just pay attention to the humanity of our business, because it is still very much the forward leaning modality of how people are going to borrow money. They might do some other things technology wise before they talk to you, but they're going to need a guide, and you're the guide. All right. Do we have any questions that have popped into here? It looks like we've dropped down to 31. Anybody want to throw a question? Aside from high trust selling, what does coaching with you cost per month? It actually is a different question, Troy. So the question is, how much are you losing per month by not investing in coaching? So just putting that spin on that, I want you to understand. So our producer level is $700 a month. our master level, which is usually branch managers that have a team. Sharla would be an example of a master if she were not an elite, but the master level is $1,350 a month. And then our elite group is with the discounts. If you do a full pay, it's $2,500 a month. We meet every month. You have to qualify to be in the group. We're going to have 3 retreats next year, and it's the group that I personally coach. So $700, $1,350, or $2,500 a month. There we go.
Worth every penny.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. I've heard you talk about the circle of cash flow and really like the idea today. It hit me that it should not only be asking friends and family and borrowers who they know, and also getting the warm referrals from agents. Thank you for making that makes sense to me today. Since you guys are waiting and you've been on, I'm going to show you something that I did not show. That I'm just going to grab a slide. I'm going to tell you a personal story about something that happened to me as a loan officer, and I'll show you just one slide real quick here. There we go. Okay. See if I can just do this real quick. Where's my screen? Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so stop share, back to Zoom, start share screen. Boom. Where did it go? Just a sec, guys. I am diligently. Here we go. All right. Boom. Boom. You know what he's doing? Yes. All right. So this is an example of where the circle of cash flow came from. So this is 1983. My top real estate agent was Debbie Johnson. She referred me to a guy named Todd Duncan, who was a physician. My team and I helped Todd Duncan and his wife Janet buy a home. I set the hook with him that if ever he knew anybody that would like to have the same mortgage experience he and Janet had with me and my team, feel free to refer us. And so when I called him a couple months after, I'd already called him 7 days past closing. Then a couple months later, he said, "Hey, listen, I was golfing with my friend yesterday. His name is Ed France, and he's the CEO of a local bank, but they don't do mortgage loans." And he said, "I think you and Ed should hook up, because if you have a conversation, I think that all the depositors at El Dorado Bank might be interested in how you approach mortgage origination." So I had a lunch with Ed and we had a conversation, and then we met with his management team. We ended up striking a relationship with him and 3,500 depositors. And you'll see down below that over 8 years, I averaged 29 transactions that came out of that bank that needed Debbie, my real estate agent, which is why the line goes back underneath Debbie. What I'm telling people today is when you look at kind of the modality of how we teach the operating system for high trust, and you look at the top left, realtor builder referral, you look at the bottom left, affinity referral, the financial planners, CPAs down here, realtors and builders up here. The operating system is the same system, right? And the comment that I make to people is, most people that are loan officers have not mastered referral by design. And they go, "Well, what does that actually mean?" So all I do is hit a button and I say, these are all the areas that a loan officer can originate referrals to take back to their realtor, to their builder, to their CPA, to their financial planner, and they have to be tactically built in to your playbook, right? One of the things that Sharla did is she built what's called her Top Gun training manual. And it is step by step. How do we do loans in this branch? And it's a beautiful thing. But the reason I'm just showing you this is because when the comment was made about the circle of cash flow, this is as simple as it gets. And then you have this as an example of where the referrals take place. And then I think, let's see, this is like the operating system, right? So if you look at referrals by design and you look at why create high trust with the borrower, it's because if you trigger a referral at the pre-purchase consult, the 24-hour post-application call, the contract appointment call, the rate lock call, status updates, mid-process survey, conditions back congrats call, pre-closing clear to close call, funded recorded call, 7-day, 30-day annual call, you have 10 opportunities for every borrower you serve to unleash this firestorm of referrals. So the fastest way to build your business is not by finding new people that don't know you, unless the new people that don't know you are highly referred by somebody who does know you, because then it's not a price game as much as it is an advice game, and it's a relationship game. So if these 3 slides were just add-ons from something else I did last week, and just understand that you have got to do this. You have got to do this. You have got to engage referrals. And once you do that, think about 1,000 closed loan buyers that you're engaged with that help you find one more buyer a month. I mean, one more, that Freudian slip, one more buyer a month, one more buyer a year or a month. I don't care. You know, you should never have a business development problem if you engage the circle of cash flow, ever. There we go. Okay. Let's see here. What exactly do you say after you call a couple months after closing? You don't just call 2 to 5 months after closing for referrals, or do you? No, the follow-up, I want to do a 7-day follow-up and make sure everything has gone copacetically. I want to set them up with, making sure they understand the payment strategy and coupons and, the things that you're going to be doing as a teammate of theirs. I introduce the annual client review. I introduce the 30-day follow-up. I have strategic things that I'm going to do during the year. I can send out closing statements at tax time. I can send out event reminders if I'm doing a consumer direct kind of thing. I have a guy that I called on August 16th of this year, who this will be the 31st year I've called him. And he's a very successful entrepreneur in Australia. And I called him this year and we talked for 20 minutes. He gave me a referral to another CEO that owns a bank in Australia, and they have 2,000 loan officers. So I call the CEO that is the bank that my friend, who I've been calling for 31 years, knows. I set an appointment with him, and next August I'm going to Australia to do teaching for 2,000 of their brokers. So it's just like 31 years, right? And that's all. It's just relationship. It's not like you have to say anything. It's just like, hey, just checking in. I told you that I'd call you at 180 days past closing. How's it going? How's the house? How's the kids? Any needs you have? Blah, 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 blah. All you're doing is understanding that if you're not in touch, you're out of touch. And if you're out of touch, you're not top of mind. If you're not top of mind, you're not going to get referrals. So keep it simple. Maybe 2 contacts a year, phone, celebrate a couple birthdays or celebrate a couple of anniversaries, stay connected with a mid-year review, and then start the annual client review. And every year do a mortgage efficiency checkup, talk to them about their dreams and goals. One of the great things that the top producers do in following up is that there's a question that 98.2% of realtors do not ask buyers and sellers after a transaction is complete. And that question is, so now that you're in the home, what are your real estate dreams and goals for the next 5 years, 10 years, or 10 years plus? And so if a lender asks that and uses his or her CRM and beautiful brands like Sales Boomerang and things like that, you're never, ever going to miss that opportunity. And when you call a borrower and they answer that question and they say, you know what, we're pregnant, we need a bigger home, we have triplets coming, you can call the realtor and say, I just talked to the Johnsons. We need to list their home. They need to buy a bigger home. And I'm going to do a loan for the people that buy their home and a loan for the people that buy the new home. And for the seller, I'm doing all the loans, right? And so just really, the Academy unpacks this. We have a 20-page playbook on what does post-closing look like, but that's it in a nutshell, top of the heap. Kaylin says this helps. Love it. That helps with call reluctance. You should never, let me tell you something. This is a real gift. The longer you hang on, the bigger the gifts. My chief marketing officer and I were talking a couple of weeks ago, and she goes, isn't it fascinating how everybody hears the words follow up? Everybody understands the words follow up, but most people don't follow up. And she goes, have you ever thought like why that is? And I said, they probably have call reluctance. And she goes, you know why they have call reluctance? And I go, why? And she goes, because they don't have a relationship. You have call reluctance if you've closed a loan and it's a transaction. I should have no call reluctance whatsoever. Like I don't have any call reluctance calling Sharla, not because she's a client, but because she and I are connected at the heart and we know each other and we're friends. So I always want to talk to her. There's like, no, I wonder what Sharla would say. It's just like, and loan officers need to do a better job in the first impression of relationship with borrowers so that they can see that there's a friendship. I'm following up because I care about you. I'm following up because what you told me at the initial consultation is there's some very important things to you that I need to follow up on, right? And so if you can move from why follow up? Well, here, let's replace that. People don't care what you know until they know how much you care. So show the care first. Show the care. I really care about my borrowers. I really care about relationship with them. Part of how I make sure that they understand that is between now and the time that we successfully close your loan and buy your home for the rest of your life, I'm going to show you how my team and I care about you. And this is the first of many transactions during this relationship. So stuff like that. All right, we're 20 past. I love you guys. Thanks so much for being here. Sharla, once again, thank you for joining. And Don and Gino, thanks for the opportunity to hang out with the Momentum Builder team and tribe. And hope you guys have a great rest of the week, a great weekend. And go back through this webinar, watch it again, and choose positivity. Choose positivity. Sharla, thanks. Love you. See you guys.